This is modern-day Moscow, rebuilt after the ravages of war. But had you been here in October 1941, this was ground zero. The Battle for Moscow was fought between the 2nd of October 1941 and the 7th of January 1942 and was one of the most decisive campaigns of the Second World War. It began with Operation Typhoon, Germany's attempt to capture the Soviet capital before the onset of winter. Adolf Hitler believed that the fall of Moscow would cripple the Soviet command, communications and morale, potentially forcing the Soviet Union to surrender. The German offensive was led by Army Group Center, commanded by Field Marshal Theodor von Bock. Its principal formations included the 2nd Panzer Army under Colonel General Heinz Guderian, the 3rd Panzer Group under Colonel General Hermann Hoth, the 4th Panzer Group under Colonel General Erich Hauptner, and the 2nd, 4th and 9th Armies. In total, the Germans committed approximately 1.9 million men, supported by around 1,700 tanks, 14,000 artillery pieces and nearly 1,400 aircraft of the Luftwaffe. Defending Moscow were the Soviet Western Front, Reserve Front and Bryansk Front, initially commanded by Marshal Semyon Budyonny, General Ivan Konev and General Andrei Yeremenko. In October, General Georgy Zhukov assumed overall command of the defense of Moscow. Soviet forces eventually grew to more than 1.2 million troops, supported by roughly 1,000 tanks, 7,500 artillery pieces and about 900 aircraft. As reinforcements arrived throughout the campaign, Soviet strength exceeded 1.5 million personnel. Operation Typhoon opened with massive German encirclement attacks near Vyazma and Bryansk. Using fast-moving panzer divisions supported by motorized infantry and close air support, the Wehrmacht surrounded several Soviet armies. More than 600,000 Soviet soldiers were killed, wounded or captured in these battles, one of the greatest encirclement victories of the war. Although devastating, the trapped Soviet forces delayed the German advance long enough for new defensive lines to be established closer to Moscow. As the Germans advanced, worsening weather disrupted their timetable. Heavy autumn rains turned the roads into deep mud, making it difficult to move tanks, trucks, artillery and supplies. When freezing temperatures arrived in November, many German vehicles and weapons suffered mechanical failure. Most German soldiers had not been issued adequate winter clothing because the campaign had been expected to end before winter. Meanwhile, the Soviet leadership organized an enormous defense of the capital. Hundreds of thousands of civilians helped dig anti-tank ditches, trenches and defensive fortifications around Moscow. Fresh divisions transferred from Siberia and the Soviet Far East, released after intelligence indicated Japan was unlikely to attack the Soviet Union, reinforced Zhukov's armies. These formations were well trained and equipped for winter warfare. By late November, German advance units came within 30 kilometers of the Kremlin, with some reconnaissance patrols able to observe the outskirts of Moscow. Despite these gains, German formations were exhausted, short of fuel and ammunition, and suffering increasing casualties from Soviet resistance and severe cold. Their offensive gradually lost momentum and finally stalled. On the 5th of December 1941, the Red Army launched a massive winter counteroffensive along a broad front around Moscow. Zhukov committed fresh Siberian divisions, ski battalions, cavalry formations, tanks and artillery in coordinated attacks against the overstretched German lines. The Germans, lacking prepared winter defences, were forced into a fighting withdrawal. Soviet forces pushed Army Group Center back between 100 and 250 kilometers, liberating numerous towns and removing the immediate threat to the Soviet capital. German casualties during the Battle for Moscow are estimated at approximately 250,000 to 400,000 killed, wounded, missing or captured, together with the loss or disablement of large numbers of tanks, artillery pieces and vehicles. Soviet losses were even greater, with approximately 900,000 to over 1 million soldiers killed, wounded, missing or captured during both the defensive and offensive phases of the campaign. Civilian casualties around Moscow also numbered in the tens of thousands. The Battle for Moscow ended in a major Soviet strategic victory. It marked the first large-scale defeat of the Wehrmacht in the Second World War and shattered the belief that Germany was militarily unstoppable. Although Germany remained a formidable opponent, the failure to capture Moscow meant Operation Barbarossa had failed to achieve its principal objective. The Soviet Union retained its political and military centre, gaining a vital psychological victory, and demonstrated that the Red Army could not only survive German blitzkrieg tactics but also defeat them in large-scale offensive operations. The battle marked a decisive turning point, ensuring that the war on the Eastern Front would become a long war of attrition that Germany was ultimately unable to win.